Hi there, this is Miss Caitlin from Fibo Kids Art Academy and welcome to another fall daily draw. Today is day 14 and we are going to be drawing a woodland squirrel. So check out the squirrel we're going to be making today. It's going to be holding a little acorn, maybe looking at another acorn that it wants to take back, just so it has enough food for the winter before it hibernates. All right, so for the daily draw today, again, you can use whatever kind of materials you want, but I'm going to be using chalk pastel and color pencil today. So for the daily draw, go ahead and grab your piece of paper and we are going to turn it vertically. Now, remember, I'm going to be using a Sharpie to draw, but I want you to use a pencil. The Sharpie is just so that you can see. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is write our number for the day at the top. Today is 14, so at the top of your paper, you can go ahead and put just a square for the number 14. You can write the numbers however you like. You can make them fancy. You can just make them print. You can make them plain. You can add like little details to them. It's really up to you. All right, so for our squirrel today, we're going to begin with the face. Now, I'm going to try and draw the squirrel so that there's minimal erasing, okay? So let's go ahead and head to about the middle of our paper, and we're going to kind of draw this, the cheeks of the squirrel first. So I want us to draw almost like this jelly bean shape. Now watch how I draw this first, and then maybe you can try. It's like a Say's jelly bean. So go ahead and give that a try. Then from here, we're going to go ahead and draw the head, which is basically going to be as if we were going to draw a circle. You're going to connect that back to the other side of that jelly bean. We want a little bit of that kind of coming off the edge because we're going to draw a circle for the nose right here. Now you don't really need to erase that line just yet because later we can color that in with like either a Sharpie or a color pencil, but if it bothers you, you can go ahead and erase this line right here. Let's go ahead and draw in an eye and the mouth. Now our squirrel is facing the profile view, which means that we're only really seeing a side or one side of the squirrel's face. So let's go ahead and draw a circle for the eye right about here. You can draw this eye however you want. If you want it to be very cute with eyelashes, go for it. I think I'm going to add a little highlight into the eye right here. But again, you can make it as cute as you like. And then let's go ahead and give our squirrel a little smile. The squirrel's so happy to be collecting acorns. So I'm going to put a little smile right here. Next, let's go ahead and draw in the ears. Now again, we're kind of looking at a profile view of the squirrel, so we're not going to see both of the ears perfectly on either side of the head. They're kind of going to be together. So I want us to go to the top of our squirrel's head here, and you can draw a rainbow, and then kind of go over to the side a little bit here and draw another little tiny rainbow. The ears are almost like they're overlapping each other. Then I want you to go ahead and draw a curved line on the inside for the inside part of the squirrel's head. All right, now we're going to go ahead and draw the squirrel's arm that's kind of coming out and that's going to be holding an acorn. So go underneath your squirrel's cheeks right here, and I want you to first draw a U shape. Then I want you to draw a rainbow for its little paw. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to pull that line in a little bit. So we're going to draw another U shape in. Now we don't want this to go too far, just a little bit. So it almost kind of looks like the elbow of a macaroni. All right, next we're going to go ahead and draw the back of the squirrel. So I want you to go again underneath the head, kind of close, and you're going to draw a line down and a big curved line. From here, we can go ahead and draw the leg. So I want us to draw a big curved line. And then we can draw a big C shape that connects for the foot. Okay, so we almost have all of the half of the squirrel done. Let's go ahead and draw the acorn that the squirrel is going to be holding onto, and then we'll draw the rest of the belly that we're going to see. So for an acorn, the tops of them are kind of like, I think they kind of look like little berets. So we're gonna kind of draw an oval shape here. So go ahead and draw an oval for the squirrel. Make sure that you don't go through your paw. Then for the stem, you can draw 2 lines up and connect. And then for the bottom of the acorn, if it's too hard for you, you can just draw an oval. Or if you wanted to make it a little more advanced, you can draw a curved line down, and then to a point, and draw that point back up. And that will make an acorn shape. Now for the belly, again, start underneath your squirrel's cheek a little bit more to the left this time. You can draw a curved line down, hop over your arms, a big curved line that connects to the foot. Remember, our squirrel is trying to collect food for the winter. If you want, you can put another little paw on top of the acorn. Maybe the squirrel is really trying to hold on to it. You can add little lines for the little fingers. And if you do have some room here between the acorn and the squirrel, just make sure that you draw a line for the arm as it wraps around to connect to the acorn here. Now, what would a squirrel be without its fluffy tail? So start on the back of your squirrel's body, maybe right about here. You can draw a curved line up. And if you want it to curl around, start on the ear, draw a curly line around. And that's how you get a really fluffy squirrel's tail. Now, technically, we're all done with the squirrel, so you could stop here, but let's just add in a couple things to kind of give our squirrel a little environment to be in. So you can draw your squirrel sitting on the ground. You can draw your squirrel sitting on a tree branch like I am. Now, tree branches and parts of those trees, they're not even. So you can have a lot of fun drawing a really organic looking shape for your squirrel to be sitting upon. You can draw little twigs kind of poking out from the branch. You could even, like in our example, draw a little branch coming down on the top here, like the squirrel is eyeing that next acorn. So this part's going to be up to you and how you want to kind of design a little space for your squirrel. So just have a lot of fun adding things. If you want, you could even put like a little leaf coming out from one of the branches. You can draw the leaf however you want. I drew mine with a straight line just for that kind of spine of the leaf, and I drew curved lines to create it. Now you can outline this in Sharpie, you can outline this in pencil, or some kind of dark colored marker. I'm gonna stick to Sharpie just because that's what I used. I'm gonna fill in the nose. I'm also gonna fill in the eye. But again, you could do this with colored pencil if you'd like. You can have fun filling in your numbers, or even adding line width to the box that the numbers are in. So it's really up to you, okay? Now let's talk a little bit about coloring with the chalk pastels and colored pencils. I'm going to start with color pencil first because we can add lots of texture with colored pencils and then just go over it with chalk pastel and they won't blend away. Plus, they're less messy, so I like to use them first. So with the color pencil, I might choose a natural color for a squirrel, say like a dark brown, and I am going to go in and take this color and add short little strokes onto places I want the squirrel's fur to be the darkest. You could also do this with a light color. You could do orange, you could do gray, or even use a black color pencil. Again, it's really up to you for your squirrel. If you've seen a squirrel in real life, maybe you can think about, how did that squirrel look? And try and copy it, or you can look up a picture of a squirrel and maybe do some observational drawing and kind of see, how does the fur look like on a squirrel? What kind of fur patterns do they have? So you can see for me, I'm just having a lot of fun making those short little strokes all throughout the squirrel's really fluffy tail. You can add more, you can add less, but I think I'm going to add just that much. And then as for the tree branches, you can also feel free to add texture to those. Now, you could also do short lines, Or you could go the route of trying to draw the wood texture. Now, no tree is the same, but every tree kind of has like its own unique tree bark. There's a couple ways to go about drawing tree bark in our artwork. One way you can do it is by drawing lots of really wavy lines inside the tree or inside the tree branch, whatever part of the tree it is that you're working on. In some places you might see like the wood kind of have a curl or like those little notches into the tree. What's important is that you don't want all of the lines to look totally the same. So you can have a lot of fun just drawing in some wavy lines or short little lines into the tree branches. Okay. All right, so this looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and fill in things that are small with the color pencil. So that might be the insides of our ear and the acorns. So for the acorns, the tops of acorns are actually pretty dark. So again, I'm going to take out our handy dandy dark brown and I am going to just fill in the tops of the acorns with this dark brown. Of course, when you're using color pencil, you want to add your layers slowly. You want to do one layer going one direction and then another layer going the opposite direction. Today, just to make sure that you can see what it is that I'm coloring in, you'll notice that my color is a little bit darker. This is just so that you can see. But for you, it might take a little while for the color to get built up. So don't feel like you have to rush through the coloring with the color pencil. Just take your time. If you want that color to be built up even more, you want there to be a little bit of shading, you can either take an even darker brown or a black color pencil. And on the bottom of this acorn top, you can add a little bit of shading. You could do this by either just blending very carefully, so pressing lighter and lighter and lighter until they blend together. You could also do hatching, so that's where you do short little lines to add in shading or even just texture. Now for the bodies of the acorns, they're still brown, but I kind of want to use a different color of brown. Don't want them to be exactly the same. So I'm going to take this brown here. I know it might look a little bit red to you, but this is actually just one step above, well, a couple steps above this dark brown. This brown does have a little bit of a red tinge to it though. I'm just going to take this and fill in the body of the acorn. Again, if you want to be kind of advanced and add some shading, go for it. Decide where your light source is coming from. I guess I already kind of decided, and my light source is coming from the top of the piece. Maybe it's the sun. Or if it's nighttime, it could be a street light. Who knows? Maybe this tree is not that tall. You can add shading underneath that little top area. Trying to make that kind of dark so you can see it a little better. You can even add it along the sides of the acorn. All right, so there are a couple more things I want to do. I want to add some green, some like little veins right here onto the leaf. So I'm just going to take maybe a dark green. I'll add a couple of lines here just so that my leaf is a little detailed. And then I'll go ahead and fill in the inside of my squirrel's ear with like a pink. And then I might take a brown or a gray or even a tan. And I'll also add some fur lines just onto these other parts of the squirrel, just so that it all kind of goes together. Now I'm doing this with tan, but again, you can feel free to use whatever is going to make sense for your squirrel. We are going for like a slightly realistic look. I know the squirrel is very cartoon-ish or very stylized, and it is, but I still want to use realistic squirrel colors at least. All right, that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and put my pencils away and take out my chalk pastel. The chalk pastel is a pretty fast medium, so it'll allow us to just finish this quickly. Now do keep in mind that you want to keep your fingers pretty clean, especially when you change to completely different colors. So as I'm working, I'm going to start first with the squirrel, and then if I have to go into like the green, I might quickly wipe off my hands with a wipe of some kind. All right, so for the squirrel, again, I'm kind of going for a brown squirrel today, but you can choose whatever color that is a realistic squirrel color. Now for the darker part of the fur, I think I'm going to use sort of a like a medium brown color. I'm thinking this one. So I'm going to take this chalk pastel. First, I'm going to use the flat part of the tip. I'm going to just very carefully, lightly outline these areas where I want that brown to be. You can see, even though I'm pressing really light, a lot of color is coming off. So with your chalk pastels, remember, less is more. Of course, we still want the colors to be bright, solid, and even, but don't feel like you need to add a bunch on all at once. All right, so kind of taking that color around, bring it to the inside. We'll put that chalk pastel back using one finger today. Just going to carefully blend and push that color kind of towards the center of that space, being careful to go around my eye. If I do accidentally get chalk pastel somewhere where I didn't want it to be, I will just simply erase it or take a kneaded eraser and remove it later. But no need to try and do that as we're just applying the color. So again, just kind of pushing it in to help shade. So this is one way to shade with chalk pastel, is just kind of outlining the area that you want to do a certain color first, then kind of pushing it in. Of course, the other way is just doing a solid layer of the color and then literally adding in the shadow. A couple different ways to use the chalk pastel to get the desired look you want. Here, I'm kind of moving in little circles just to kind of help get that color all blended in. All right, so with just one color, we already have a squirrel that looks like it's pretty well shaded in. Next, I'm going to use a maybe lighter tan for just the cheeks and the belly. I'm going to go for this color here. It's like a tannish gold. Again, just outlining first with the flat part of the tip. And then using my finger to just kind of pull that color towards that center of the space. Again, you can see it's already, looks like it's shaded a little bit. All right, so there's the squirrel all filled in. Let's go ahead and concentrate now onto the tree branches, because I added those in. You can use whatever colors are gonna make sense for you for your background. For me, I gotta think of a color for my tree branch. I'm gonna go with a slightly darker brown here. And I am going to do the same technique. I'm going to outline the inside of the tree branch. I'll outline a little part of that twig there. That might be kind of tricky. So again, try and just use that tip as best you can. If you have any small areas like that. Definitely using one finger or even your pinky. You might need to use it to get into any little small areas. And then pull that color towards the center and blend. If you really want to kind of bump the contrast a little bit and really play with that light and dark, you can of course go in after and add even more shading. So you can kind of shade the way that you're used to, where it's, you put down a solid color first, then you add shading on top. You can of course do that with this, but you can see it already kind of has some semblance of being shaded already. Now I'm going to go ahead and just wipe off my hand here real quick because I need to switch colors. I'm no longer going to be using a brown. I'm going to use a green to just do that one single leaf that's at the top of my piece. Now for the green, I have two options here. I have kind of like this almost olive green, and I have this very vibrant green here. I'm actually going to go with the olive green today, which just kind of reminds me a little bit more of fall. That sort of not really muted green, but more so like an earth toned green. Add a little there using the same technique. Take my finger and blend. All right. And there is our squirrel. So I hope you guys have a lot of fun making these different woodland squirrels. Be sure to share your artwork in the comments below. I would love to see what kind of woodland squirrel you created, what background you decided to give it. All right, guys, have lots of fun creating these squirrels, and we will see you again tomorrow for another daily draw. Bye, everybody.